Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this Maties101 event. I'm Professor Willard, Dean of the Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences. You're here this evening because you've received an offer to study in our faculty next year. We know that you've received many offers from other universities, so we hope that we can convince you this evening to make Stellenbosch University your home from home in 2024. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I think you should make Stellenbosch University your destination of choice next year. First of all, we have leading researchers that will be teaching you. These are not only people that are experts in their own fields and have been nationally and internationally recognized, but they're also truly dedicated to your success as students. We have some of the highest pass rates in the country, despite having truly very high academic standards. Secondly, we've invested very heavily in learning technology. In other words, ways in which that we can use technology to enhance the experience. You'll be learning in the classroom, but you'll also be learning through our learning platform, where we can monitor your progress and also ensure that you get additional resources. Thirdly, this is a campus in which there is always a great deal going on. We understand that these student years are years in which you develop not only in the classroom, but have the opportunity to grow outside of the classroom. There are many student organizations, sporting clubs, and cultural organizations that you'll be able to join in order to really have an incredible student experience. As a graduate of the Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences, you will be joining an alumni network of people all over the world that have studied here. You will have studied and will be able to meet captains of industry and leaders in the public sector as well. We're very, very proud of the fact that our students go on to incredible careers, both in South Africa and across the world. We really try hard to instill in you the attributes of creativity, innovation, and social justice. So enjoy the evening, and we hope that we're able to answer all the questions that you might have in order to help you make the right decision to come and study here in 2024.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for our Maties101 session this evening. My name is Ilse France, and I am the Student Affairs Officer in the Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences. So by now you have received and accepted an offer from the university, and you are probably very excited to come to Stellenbosch and join the EMS family. But I guess you do not know what to expect. Don't worry, I am here to set your mind at ease and tell you about the support that is available within the faculty. Coming to Stellenbosch University, you will be adapting to a new environment and a campus that is different to what you might be used to. You will definitely be making a whole lot of new friends, and you will be experiencing a new way of learning. I guess the most significant change that you will be experiencing here at university is that you will now be responsible for your own academic success. Like I said, this is a new environment, and in this new environment, you will be experiencing classes that is much bigger than you are used to, with hundreds of students. Your workload will double, if not triple, and the pace at which these things happen will be challenging, to say the least. I do not say this to scare you, but rather to prepare you for what to expect. At the university, we've got an amazing support system, which range from tutoring, counseling, psychologists, and we also have specialized units such as those that specialize in disability. In terms of disability, our classes are wheelchair accessible, and we do have designated seats for students who might have a visual impairment or make use of a hearing aid. Do note that we do not only limit the support we offer to students who have these disabilities that I have mentioned, so there is support available to all students who have any other disability. As part of the student leadership structure of the university, our faculty has a student committee which is called the EBSK. So the EBSK is the link between the students and our faculty management. Then the faculty also has a dedicated student affairs officer, that would be me, that is there to assist and to support you. So throughout the year, you will have ample opportunities to monitor your progress, and we do advise that students reach out to the lecturers if they get stuck at any point, because we regard lecturers as partners in the journey towards your student success. Ons weet dat dit moeilik is vir baie studente om aan te pas van skool na universiteit, en daarom bied die fakulteit in samewerking met die Sentrum vir Studentevoorligting en Ontwikkeling, ook bekend as die SSVO, baie werksessies soos tyd- en streshantering of bestuur, studievaardighede en verskeie ander sessies wat studente help om die studentelewe en ook universiteitlewe te navigeer. Let wel dat hierdie sessies nie net beskikbaar is vir EBW-studente nie, maar ook vir alle studente binne die universiteit. En hierdie sessies word ook gratis aangebied. For those who did not follow or do not understand Afrikaans, I will repeat what I said in English. So, we are aware that adapting to university can be challenging for some students, and we have therefore collaborated with the Centre for Student Counselling and Development, also known as the CSCD, to present some work sessions on time and stress management, study skills, and various other work sessions to help students to navigate university life. These sessions are not only exclusively available to EMS students, but to all students at the university, and the services are available free of charge. We, as the faculty, also have dedicated staff members in the Registrar's Division that are there to assist with all your administrative inquiries. So if you have any questions regarding your program changes, module credits, and even registration, you are welcome to contact any of our faculty officers in the Admin A building to assist with these inquiries. If you do not know where to reach out for help or how to make use of the resources that are available to you, please do not hesitate to contact me. You can find me, or you can send an email to emsinfo@sun.ac.za. A piece of advice that I can give to prospective students is, please do not wait too long before you reach out for help and support if you need any support. Then that is just my short story on the support that is available. Like I said, please do not hesitate to contact me if you need any support or assistance. So many students that will be coming to Stellenbosch will be coming to Stellenbosch University and Stellenbosch Town for the first time, and they might not know what to expect, what campus will look like, or if they are even able to adapt. So this evening I've got a special guest with me who is a postgraduate student here at Stellenbosch University, and he will be sharing his journey here at Stellenbosch. Thank you for joining us, Luciano.
It is a pleasure, Ilse. Thank you for having me.
So you have been here for quite a while. You are a postgraduate student. So can you just please tell us a bit more about yourself, where you're from, and what you are studying?
So for those who don't know me, I am Luciano Versage, and this is my fourth year, my PGDA year in accounting. It's been a dream of mine since I was in like grade 6, and I was like, when my mom was like, I want to become an accountant. And ever since I followed through with their dream, and it has become more of a passion for me since my first year of getting to university and getting to see how things are, you know. I'm from a hometown called Uppington in the Northern Cape, a very small town, and it's a place of like very narrow-minded in a very broad sense, where it's like, if you don't do this, you need to do this. Do you understand? So for me, coming to Stellenbosch was very liberating in a very broader sense. So yeah, that is a bit of me.
Okay, so can you tell us, apart from wanting to become an accountant, is there a specific reason why you chose to come to Stellenbosch University?
To be honest with you, Ilse, my first choice wasn't Stellenbosch University, just because of familiarity and because all my friends went to the specific university that I wanted to go to. But coming to Stellenbosch University is no regret whatsoever. I constantly remind myself that if I didn't come to Stellenbosch University, I would have been the worst version of myself that I possibly could be. Coming here, literally, as I said, I came from a place that's not as liberated as Stellenbosch is. Because Stellenbosch is a student town, it provides you with the liberation. So coming here allowed me to be the version of myself that I am right now. So when I got the offer from Stellenbosch, they offered me a recruitment bursary. They gave me placement in race, and my mother was just like, you know what, you have everything sorted, I'm not going to worry anymore, you're going to Stellenbosch. And I was like, I didn't object against it because everything happened so fast. So that is the main reason why I'm at Stellenbosch University, and it definitely has the best School of Accountancy faculty, in my opinion. I might be biased, but that's just how I feel.
Nothing wrong with that. I would just also like to ask you, you said that you're from a small town and you had this specific notion and you wanted to go to other university. What can you say prospective students can expect from campus and Stellenbosch?
Okay, that's a very good question. As I said, as someone from a very small town, it can be very overwhelming to come into this space where you find a lot of liberal people from across the world, but even just across the country, because Stellenbosch is an internationally recognized university. So coming to Stellenbosch, you need to just remind yourself that this is a space where you need to be open-minded, and when you get overwhelmed, just to remind yourself of why you're here and that you're not alone, like you mentioned in the beginning. Like myself, I made use of the psychologists of the university, and I made use of the CDC, of the CD.
CSCD, yes.
Yes, and that helped me manage my stress levels. I mean, coming is like, I came from Uppington, like I said multiple times, and I didn't really go out of my comfort zone into like a big campus with 20,000 students on one campus. So what you expect from university is just to be open-minded. That's the one thing that I would tell prospective students to expect, is to be open-minded, and that you need to allow yourself to go through the process. It's not the thing that you need to have this list of expectations, because having expectations is not always, for me personally, the best way to go, because that's like the first step to disappointment. So what I would say prospective students can expect from Stellenbosch University is that it is a place and a platform for you to grow and to become the best version of yourself. And you just need to let yourself be in the moment and enjoy the journey. It's not always an easy journey. I know, I've been here for 4 years, but it's definitely one that is worthwhile.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I know Luciano for a while now, and I can really tell you, you have grown since first year, the shy boy that came here to university. I can really see the growth over the years. Then I think this would be my last question to you. If there is something that you wish you had known before you came to Stellenbosch University, what would that one thing be? And is there any advice that you can give? You already gave a lot of pointers and tips to the prospective students, but is there something you wish you knew before you came to Stellenbosch? And if there's anything specific that or advice you can give to prospective students when they get here?
So what I can say is, and I think this might also just like answer like your previous question about what to expect at Stellenbosch. I didn't have anybody in my family to come to Stellenbosch University. So for me, this was a first in my generation. And thanks to the SOAR program that Stellenbosch University also offers for first generation students, that allowed me to be comfortable within the space. So I would, on the previous question, just so sorry, because it just came to mind, man. So I would say what to expect is just to remind yourself that it is a space where you need to be comfortable. Like, you can expect some uncomfortable situation. That's definitely something is going to happen, but change will not happen in an uncomfortable situation. What I really wish I knew before I came to university is that failure is a part of life, and that if you don't accept failure and don't embrace the failure, that it only it only makes your story worse because you're going to constantly remind yourself of the things that you couldn't achieve. So my advice would be to embrace your failures because they make you stronger, and to dig deep within yourself and find the courage that you treasure within yourself. Because at the end of the day, we wouldn't have been here if we didn't have what it takes to be here. So it's an uncomfortable space to be in initially, yes, but change doesn't happen in comfortable spaces. So be comfortable in your uncomfortable space and embrace your failures because they make you stronger.
Thank you so much, Luciano, for sharing your journey, and I hope that this will inspire students or prospective students to come to Stellenbosch University and to experience this environment, to entice our viewers a bit more and hopefully to convince you to choose Stellenbosch University for 2024. We will show you a video of what it is like in the life of an EMS Maties student. We hope that you enjoy the video and that you will choose Stellenbosch University as your university in 2024.
Damn, that's fine. Hi, future Mati. My name's Alia. I'm a final year Bachelor of Accounting student. I'm part of the EMS faculty. So it's now like just before 6. I've been up since 5. Pro tip, start your day early. Mornings for me is my quiet time. It's when I get most of my admin done, just to stay on top of things. What else do I do in the morning? I like to pre-read before class, just so that I know, okay, what to expect in the lecture. I'd rather get a good night's rest and start fresh in the morning than burn the midnight oil. Do people still say that? Anyways, so basically what this video is gonna look like, I'm gonna give you a little insight on what you can expect as an EMS student. Gonna take you to some study venues, show you a bit of campus, lecture venues, Okay, so I start my day leaving Rays. Takes me about say 5 to 7 minutes to get to class. It's really depending on how fast you walk. This is our Van der Stad building. It's a big building. So one of the major blessings about being an EMS student is that most of your classes are along this, what I call the red carpet. I say this because you're bound to run into your friends if you're walking along the street to get to your class. So along the red carpet you have your Van der Stad building, Schoeman Annex, the Maties101, and those are your major buildings for EMS faculty. So this is what a typical classroom would look like. This is inside the Van der Stad building. I'm now entering the Maties101. This is one of our newer buildings. This is the inside of one of these lecture halls. I really like this space upstairs. It's really beautiful and really modern. It also has like a computer lab. That's ready for you to use and do your assignments on. Okay, so now we're entering the Nielsie. The Nielsie is a student center filled with lots of stores. It's super convenient for a coffee break in between lectures. So what's really cool is from this view on top here of the Nielsie, this floor there are 2 Farga venues. Farga is a study venue specifically for our faculty. And as you can see, it's like massive computer labs. Farga at night is super busy. It is open 24/7. But what's really awesome is that it's a venue filled with students studying in the evenings, and I think that can be really motivating. So now we're on the bottom floor of the Nielsie. This is the place to be if you want to grab a bite to eat, late breakfast, or during lunchtime. There's banks, as well as the spa. Okay, so here I'm enjoying my morning coffee as I take you along the Rooiplane. The Rooiplane is a recreational space for students, I'd say. Titled Rooiplane, probably because it's tiled with red bricks. Here you can see the roof of our bib, which is our library. What's super cool about our bib is that it's underground. I don't know if that's cool. I think it's pretty cool. Here I am on my way to a lecture consult. This is something that I try to make a habit of consulting my lectures if there's a section that I do not understand with regards to the work. In my experience, all the lectures that I've been to have been super, super helpful, and I strongly recommend booking consultations with your lecturers. Okay, so now we are walking down Victoria Street. Victoria Street is basically like the main road of Stellenbosch University. If you're ever lost, get back onto Victoria and you'll find your way. I'm now on my way to gym. I would say that regardless of what faculty you belong to, what degree you're studying, physical exercise should be a priority. I like to schedule about at least 3 sessions a week, whereby I just make my way to the gym. Now it's time for some late night studying. Not too late. I very much clock out at 10:30 latest. I'm studying in the Skuman opposite Van der Stad building. My evenings usually consist of me revising the work that I covered that day and doing some practice questions.
Hello, so I'm currently on my silly little mental health walk. It's not that silly, it's actually very serious and very important to my everyday routine. Just like stepping outside and balancing the fast-paced work life with nature and just taking a breather. Like I came out of an intense tax lecture and I was just like, whoa, my brain feels so like fuzzy and there's so much going on, and I know that like I need to go and prepare and revise and do pre-reading, but also like catch up on what I was just taught. So yeah, and I told myself, you know what, Alia, like step outside, go for a little walk, and you'll feel better. And I know that I'll feel better. The other thing I wanted to mention, it came to mind now about the EMS faculty, is that I think it's such a cool faculty in terms of networking, especially if you want to go into the business sector. And you know, I'm sure you've heard, it's who you know, not what you know. So yeah, you're surrounded by a lot of like-minded people. Lectures are super cool. Another pro tip, like build good relations with your lecturers. They are there to help you, and I think this faculty does an amazing job. So yeah, I hope that after this video, you know, you feel somewhat inspired, what's giving you a better insight on what being an EMS student is like. Yeah, I'm super grateful for my experience and my years here, and I wouldn't go back. I certainly wouldn't change faculties. Like I can't actually imagine myself in another faculty. And yeah, I hope you guys join the EMS community, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys next year. Bye-bye.
So I'm joined by another special guest this evening. She's a lecturer within the Department of Economics, Ms. Mosima Ngwenya. Thank you so much for joining me. And Ms. Mosima Ngwenya, will be telling us a bit more about what students can expect when they come to university and what to expect from the classrooms, what is expected from you as a student in terms of your responsibility, and then just to give us a bit more information about what is expected from parents. So how roles change, because now you are young adults, you're coming to university, you're not really left to your own devices because we are here to support you, but your role does change a bit. So I did mention in my part that students will now be adapting to a new environment. So can you tell us how this new environment will typically look like?
Okay, so we have students coming from different provinces. We have students coming from the Western Cape, but from smaller neighboring towns. We even have students that are coming from different countries. So coming to Stellenbosch, which is a small town with its own unique characteristics, can be daunting for any student. And in general, starting university for the first time as an 18-year-old post-matric individual can be very daunting. So the first thing that students are going to notice is that Stellenbosch is a very open university. So there's no gates, you don't have to scan in and scan out. So that already creates sort of like a feeling that the university is the town. So that creates a bit of ease. It's also quite big, but it's not super big. So, students are not going to feel like they're overwhelmed by this big university. There is a degree to which they will feel like there's a little bit of warmth, a little bit of hominess. Some students do find it challenging. You have students that feel homesick. The homesickness can sometimes even lead to depression. Some students might find it they might end up feeling anxious because of the new environment. There might be a little bit of confusion and distress about, have I chosen the right course? Sometimes there's also a little bit of pains in terms of trying to find accommodation. Some students come here not having settled that. So there might be some challenges in the beginning. However, the university does provide a lot of support. So there's different types of support. You've mentioned some of them. So there's student counseling services where there's trained counselors where students who are maybe experiencing a bit of depression or anxiety about being away from home. They may be also experiencing anxiety about, their studies or some pre-existing problems that they came with to university. They'll be able to sit with a trained professional and discuss and talk through those problems. There's also a lot of support structures coming from the residences themselves for students that live in res. There's a lot of opportunities for students to socialize, and in that way, students that do feel homesick can make friends. And then students that live in private accommodations have the option of being affiliated with a residence, and in that way they can also make friends and socialize. So there's a lot of support. Students that might feel, for example, like, my biggest fear, I've adapted to the environment, but my biggest fear is my academics. Am I going to pass? Do I have what it takes? There's the academic support center that helps students, like you mentioned earlier, with study practices and working out a proper time management schedule. So there's a lot of support that's provided for the university. There's sufficient support that any student who might feel like they're struggling to adapt won't fall into the cracks.
That is good to know. And again, that you're reiterating, there is a lot of support available. Students should just reach out and make use of the support that there is. So I mentioned about the new environment, the bigger classrooms, the greater workload. But one thing that remains very important for students to know is that they will now be responsible for their academic success, and that requires a lot of independent learning. So can you give us more insights into the classrooms, the workload, and how this independent learning will look like, or how it will work?
Yes, so I'll start with the classrooms. The classroom environment changes drastically for students. So students are coming from your average high school, where I was in high school many years ago. I won't mention how many years. But they come from maybe a place where your average classroom has maybe between 20 to 40 other students. And then they walk into a classroom where it's 200 plus, 300 plus. So that can be very daunting. You don't know where you fit in. If I remember, my first year in economics, I moved to a completely different town to study my degree. I was in a completely different province. I walked into the classroom and it was humongous, and I didn't really know, do I fit in? Am I going to be accepted here? Will I understand what's being taught? The classrooms are big, and even though they can be daunting, especially for shy students, I think that parents and students should see them more as an opportunity. It's an opportunity for even shy students to make friends, right? So usually if students are walking around on campus, they're not going to walk up to another student they don't know randomly while they're going to class and say, hey, can we be friends? I'm new here, right? They're not going to do that. But the large classroom provides an opportunity for students to turn to the left and turn to the right and say, hey, I'm also studying economics. How are you finding it? How was your first week? And gradually create, even if it's not friends for socializing, but maybe even study partners that they can study with. So it is daunting, but it is an opportunity as well. And lecturers do go out of their way to make sure that the large classroom environment makes everybody feel welcome instead of people feeling excluded. So students, you will always find those confident students that will put up their hands in class, but we try to make sure that the classroom environment is in such a way that every student feels like they can speak up. There's also tutorial groups. The tutorials are a lot smaller, so you might find maybe there's 15 students in a tutorial, or 20 or 30, so they're much, much smaller. And there, students get an opportunity, maybe if they're a bit shy to ask a question in a class with 300 other students, they get an opportunity there to put up their hand and work through some problems with the tutor. So there are opportunities for students that really feel like when I'm in a big classroom, I'm just going to hide myself. The tutorials provide that opportunity for those students to be able to ask questions and also maybe to even make friends. With regards to the workload, it does increase. Definitely, it's not the same as matric, but I must say, and maybe this will put parents and students at home at ease, if I remember, my own personal transition from matric to my first year in economics, it's not a massive jump. I think the biggest jump has to do with the amount of workload and the fact that it's now all on you. There's no teacher that's constantly asking you, where's your homework or checking on your homework. Everything falls on your shoulders. However, despite the increase in the workload, there is enough support provided there. I think the biggest tip that I can give to students that might be struggling with workload is make sure that you come to all the classes, make sure that you attend tutorials, and if you are doing all of that and you still feel like you're drowning, then within the first 2 weeks or the first 3 weeks, don't wait too long, make sure that you go and see your lecturer, and also make sure that you go to the academic counseling center. I think that's the main advice that I can give. With regards to independent learning, students are expected to study on their own. They're no longer under supervision of mom and dad. They're also no longer under a situation where there's a teacher that's overlooking 20 or 30 students and asking each student, where's your homework? Or, we're writing a test, you need to be here. Everything falls on the student. So that's challenging. But at the same time, I think the way that parents and students can look at it is that the university is not just, it doesn't just provide you with an opportunity to learn an academic skill or to get a degree. It's also where you get to learn how to be an adult. So one day you are going to have a job. You will be expected to come into work at a certain time and leave at a certain time. There will be certain things that your boss expects from you. So the 3 or 4 years that you spend here are also meant to help you to sort of slowly become an adult, slowly become responsible for going to classes by yourself and not having to have somebody watch over you and be independent. So yes, daunting, but at the same time also a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you. You mentioned that the lecturers will now not check your homework and possibly not give you an extension. If there's a deadline, you should know you should have submitted. If you don't submit, there's consequences to that. But sometimes I think students find it difficult to approach lecturers. I've got this many times when a student comes to my office, and then the first thing I ask, if they say they're struggling with their work, I would ask them, did you see your lecturer? And then they're like, no, but I am going there. But I would like to know from you, what is the role of the lecturer apart from just standing in front of the class and presenting the work?
So the lecturer is usually the main contact person of the student. It's the person that the student will see most often. So the role of a lecturer, the main role of a lecturer, is basically to convey knowledge. There are things that we know that we then convey to the student, but we are also there as another form of academic support. So as you mentioned, we try to encourage students, come and see us if you're having problems. It is very difficult sometimes, especially when students are shy, to approach a lecturer, but that's where sort of the relationship between the lecturer and the classroom then comes in. Once that relationship has been built, students start to feel like they can trust you and then they can approach you. And periodically throughout the semester, we encourage students, please come and see me, please come and see me. So you do find students that do take up those opportunities. Unfortunately, you also find students that don't take up those opportunities, and there's a wide variety of reasons why. Sometimes students will wait until the last minute. Sometimes students feel really, really shy. Sometimes students feel like, oh, I know I haven't been doing my part and I'm going to go to the lecturer and the lecturer's going to see. But whatever the reasons are, we always have an open door policy. I can also add the fact that for the parents and prospective students, as much as we're there to academically support students, the lecturer's role is not to supervise the student, right? So we still expect the student to be independent. So it's not the lecturer's role to chase after a student and say, have you handed in your assignment, or I haven't seen you in class. Sometimes we will show concern. If we know that a student regularly attends class and then we see a student who's a regular attendee and who's very serious about their studies start to slip and not show up in class, sometimes we will contact the students and say, hey, are you okay? But in general, lecturers are there as in a supporting role. We're not there in a supervisory parental role. The onus is still on the student to be independent, but we provide the academic support.
Thank you. And I often get the question from prospective students saying that I'm coming from a school where I got taught in Afrikaans, or perhaps rather in English. So either English or Afrikaans, and now they would like to know in which language will they have their classes. So can you tell us a bit more about the language at Stellenbosch University?
Yes, so Stellenbosch basically offers classes both in English and Afrikaans for undergraduate courses. So students and parents don't need to worry about, if they're English speaking, there will be classes offered in English. If they're Afrikaans speaking, there will be classes offered in Afrikaans. The tutorials are also provided in English and in Afrikaans. And then there is also the exams that are provided and the tests are provided in English and Afrikaans. Sometimes you find students that start out, I remember I have a student that said that they started out the semester studying everything in English, and they realized maybe this is not going to work well for me, and they transitioned into Afrikaans, and that seemed to work well for them. Sometimes you have students that basically decide some of my subjects, I will have in English, and the others I will have in Afrikaans. So I also want to encourage parents and students that if a student feels that maybe the one language I thought it would work for me, but it doesn't, there's nobody that's going to stop you from changing classes. It has to do with what the student is comfortable with and what will ensure success. But I definitely want to set all parents' minds at ease. There is an English offering and an Afrikaans offering.
And on that note, I would just like to tell the prospective students, when you do register, one of the questions that is asked on the registration is, what is your language of instruction? So you need to clearly indicate whether you would like to have your classes in English or Afrikaans, and then it is important to indicate whether you would have your classes in English or Afrikaans, because you will be allocated to specific groups for the specific language. So if you do at any point decide that you want to change your language, you should just note that the groups that you are allocated will change, and then you will have to go to another class, whether it's English or Afrikaans. Then we see that roles change, and we know that parents are very protective of the children, and especially if it's the first time that they are leaving home. So can you tell us how the role of the parent changes, and also the information that is shared, because we know parents phone us quite a lot and ask, but I'm so worried about my child, how's my son or daughter doing academically? So can you tell us what information do we share with parents, and also the involvement in the children's lives here at Stellenbosch University?
So I'll start with the role of parents. I think for most parents it's an exciting time, but also a very sad time. What they previously understood to be their baby is now all of a sudden supposed to be a grown-up that's off to university, and especially if the university is in a different country or it's in a completely different province and it's far away from home. It can be daunting for a lot of parents and even students. But I do also want to encourage parents and also help them to understand the fact that the minute that your child leaves home and is a student here, they are an adult. So the role that the parent has goes from being, a guardian, a supervisor, to being more of an advisory role. So yes, your son or your daughter will call in and they will say, I'm struggling with this or I'm struggling with that. And as a parent, you will be there. So it's not to say that they completely have to cut ties and say, you're on your own, you have to figure it out. However, it is important for parents to take more of an advisory role. I advise you to do this, or to ask questions. I advise you to go to the academic counseling center, or I advise you to go and see a counselor. It can be a very, very difficult transition, but at the same time, I think if parents are too involved, it can stunt the growth of their child. In terms of protecting information, at Stellenbosch University, we see the student as the main client. So even though we sympathize with the fact that parents can be, very, very worried about their students' performance, we don't release personal information about students. So sometimes parents will call and say they want to know what a student's mark is. So this is information that, for example, we wouldn't be able to release.
Okay, and then what do you think is this is now a question to you, what do you think is the biggest challenge that students face when they come to university?
Sure, Ilse, that is a very difficult question. I think it's not just one thing. From what I've seen in my few years of being a lecturer here, students come from different backgrounds, and therefore they present with different challenges. And also, students have different personalities and different characters. So you might find a student that is very confident and they're ready for university, and they find themselves in a very coming from a very balanced family situation. They're very confident about their studies. But maybe they might come to university and then they start, hanging out a little bit too much with their friends, socializing a little bit too much. So then the character of the student then becomes a problem. You also find students that are very mature, their characters are very much developed, but then they have personal problems like financial problems or chronic illnesses or disabilities that make it difficult for them to study well. So there's a lot of challenges that students can face. I wouldn't say that it's just one thing. The one thing that I would definitely say to parents and students is if you're struggling as a student, or as a parent, if you know that your student is struggling, immediately encourage them to go and seek the services that are available at the university. It's always heartbreaking when a student comes when it's too late. When they've left the academics for too long, or they have a personal issue that could have been resolved by them going to the counseling center, or they have a learning issue that could have been resolved by them going to the academic counseling center. They usually wait until just before the exams or the first assessments, and then they realize, oh my goodness, I'm in trouble. And that's usually too late. The main thing I would say is there's a plethora of challenges. The most important thing is to know Stellenbosch University provides support for its students and to encourage students and parents to get help as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you so much, Musima, for your time and answering all my questions. I would like to thank our viewers for joining us this evening. To our prospective students, we hope that you choose Stellenbosch, and I really hope that you choose the Economic and Management Sciences faculty as your faculty to join next year. And I would just like to wish you all the best of luck in preparation for your final examinations. Thank you.
Who we become depends on the choices we make. And what we choose is influenced by what we think, what we learn, what we dream. Who we become is shaped by what we stand for. Because when we uphold others' dignity, appreciate diversity and work for equality, we are our best selves. Who we become is inspired by the people around us. Our mentors, our teachers, our family, our colleagues, our friends. Who we become and what we achieve is the sum of all the opportunities we embrace, all the roads we travel. Discover Stellenbosch University, where who you become will transcend even your own expectations. Where we stand together, where we move forward together.